There ain't no gold in this river. I don't say a word, but still you take my breath, and still the...
This is the story of how Jordan, a barefoot jazz singer from Norway, executed a hostile takeover of her own career by outsmarting Hollywood's biggest executives. What followed next became a highly calculated independent strategy leading into 2026 that completely rewrote music industry rules. The corporate machine operates purely on predictability, and the initial massive record label contract she signed positioned her as their next obedient pop product. Industry insiders initially assumed they held a highly lucrative commodity ready for standard packaging. The turning point came when executives demanded a total overhaul of her unique vintage sound to create easily digestible mainstream tracks. Instead of fostering an authentic artist, management handed down generic pop records and enforced rigid traditional release schedules that fundamentally clashed with her natural creative rhythm. And this is where things changed entirely for the former child prodigy. Surrounding marketing teams failed entirely to understand her artistic identity. Staying on this traditional path meant trading her authentic self for a corporate paycheck. Walking away from millions of dollars remained an unthinkable risk for any star. Realizing the immense pressure to conform behind closed doors, the young vocalist recognized she became just another cog in a ruthless system. Executives wanted absolute control over her entire package. What followed next was a stark realization regarding her future in the entertainment business. The corporate label structure forced her into a mold that rejected her soul and suppressed her natural vocal styling. The turning point came when the demands for generic pop conformity reached their absolute peak, forcing a critical decision. Giving up a multi-million-dollar backing usually ends a career instantly, and this is where things changed drastically for the trajectory of her professional life. Rather than surrendering her master recordings and artistic vision to a boardroom of executives, she initiated a move that sent immediate shockwaves across the global music landscape. A complete departure from the established corporate pathway appeared to be her only viable option for survival. Suddenly, at the absolute height of her rising fame, a complete and total media blackout occurred. This sudden absence left devoted fans and veteran music critics completely baffled by the total radio silence. During the 2025 season, an unexpected void replaced her usually vibrant public presence. Without any official statements from her management team, intense speculation swirled wildly across the internet. What followed next was a barrage of industry gossip suggesting intense pushback had essentially forced her out of the business entirely. Whispers regarding extreme burnout and severe safety concerns dominated entertainment headlines for months. The turning point came when outside observers and industry insiders collectively assumed they were witnessing a classic tragedy unfold in real time. Pundits practically wrote her career obituary right then and there. And this is where things changed regarding public perception. Commentators concluded that the immense weight of fame combined with relentless corporate pressure had finally broken her spirit. Everyone assumed the label bosses successfully defeated her refusal to play by their rigid rules. The narrative of a young star crumbling under industry demands became the accepted truth among leading music journalists. An artist completely vanishing during a massive upward trajectory remained practically unheard of in modern pop culture. The silence held a calculated secret. This sudden disappearance represented a highly calculated stealth retreat rather than a tragic emotional breakdown. While media outlets busily speculated about a permanent downfall, quietly built an independent empire completely off the radar. What followed next involved officially severing all contractual ties with the major label structures that previously attempted to constrain her. She launched MOSARZ LLC as a fully independent operation during this exact blackout period. The turning point came when this family-managed imprint was designed from the ground up to keep her entire business in-house. And this is where things changed for her financial future. This transition represented a total rebellion against the infamous 360 deals that have trapped recording artists for decades. By setting up this protective family fortress, she retained full ownership of her master recordings moving forward. Absolute control of her creative direction returned directly to her own hands. She built an impenetrable wall around her art to block out corporate interference. She no longer requested a seat at the corporate table because she simply walked away to construct her own permanent foundation. Regaining ownership of the music presented only half the battle for the newly independent artist. Reaching a massive global audience without the financial backing of a major label promotional budget posed a significant challenge. What followed next revealed the true genius of her comeback strategy hiding in plain sight. Instead of hiring a high-priced Hollywood public relations firm to orchestrate her return, she handed the reins directly to her grandmother. The turning point came when stepped into the role of lead marketing strategist for the entire family operation. And this is where things changed regarding her online presence. Label executives at rival companies continued pouring millions of dollars into outdated and expensive radio campaigns. Meanwhile, engineered a brilliant and highly targeted digital strategy focused heavily on TikTok and Instagram. This family duo successfully bypassed the traditional industry gatekeepers entirely through sheer digital innovation. They created an incredibly efficient direct-to-fan pipeline that generated hundreds of millions of views. The corporate bosses remained completely confused by this unprecedented grassroots success. Dominating the digital space established her leverage before securing a highly coveted residency at the Las Vegas resort. This massive booking should have represented a seamless victory lap for the young performer. What followed next was a massive behind-the-scenes clash regarding her trademark stage presentation. Venue executives and stage managers immediately took issue with her signature barefoot performances. Turning point came when management cited strict stage safety protocols and massive liability issues as grounds for a permanent policy change. And this is where things changed during the tense negotiations. Executives delivered a harsh ultimatum demanding she wear shoes or walk away from the highly lucrative entertainment contract. For most young artists, the immediate threat of losing a Las Vegas residency causes them to cave instantly. Instead of complying with the corporate demands, the barefoot singer pushed back hard. She explained the absolute necessity of her performance style. Acoustic grounding allows her to physically feel the vibrations of the live music on stage. She stood her ground with absolute conviction against the powerful resort executives. Threatening to pull the plug entirely rather than compromise her signature style proved her unwavering autonomy in a ruthless industry. Faced with her immense leverage and massive fan base, the Las Vegas executives ultimately blinked. What followed next was a decisive victory won entirely on her own terms. Proving her total independence against powerful resort management set the stage for her boldest move yet. The turning point came when major labels started watching her every move with a mixture of profound awe and deep anxiety. And this is where things changed for her production output. She unleashed a musical strategy that completely shattered all traditional industry timelines and standard operating procedures. The corporate label process remains notoriously slow and highly bureaucratic. Standard album cycles often drag out for several years before reaching the public. The independent vocalist completely humiliated this outdated model through sheer volume and unprecedented speed. She prepared to release a massive amount of music in a fraction of the normal. Her quiet period behind the scenes yielded an incredible amount of fully finished master recordings ready for global distribution. In a remarkably condensed span of just 6 months, she dropped 3 full-length independent studio albums. Secret of the Soul, Secret of the Star, and Secret of Love arrived in rapid succession to thrill her dedicated fan base. What followed next was an explosion of streaming numbers achieved without a single dollar of major studio backing. This relentless and rapid-fire release schedule proved the absolute financial viability of direct-to-fan digital distribution. The turning point came when the music establishment stood completely stunned by the massive commercial success of the Secret Trilogy drop. And this is where things changed regarding industry standards. This undeniable triumph proved that the massive corporate apparatus actually slowed artists down rather than helping them succeed. Bypassing the heavy bureaucracy allowed her to connect directly with listeners faster than ever before. Her family-run operation vastly outperformed heavily funded marketing departments across the board. Earning hundreds of millions of views and streams validated her massive risk. The financial rewards flowed directly to her newly formed LLC instead of a massive corporate conglomerate. This undeniable independent success directly set the stage for an unprecedented showdown at the highest level of prestigious music recognition. Now, the 2026 Music Awards season stares down a truly historic and industry-altering dilemma. What followed next was a massive wave of industry chatter positioning Jordan for a sweep in the major categories. She's accomplishing this incredible feat as a fiercely independent recording artist. Turning point came when the traditional recording academy system realized the true threat her business model represents to their existence. And this is where things change for the established power players. She stands as absolute proof that an artist does not need traditional gatekeepers to reach the pinnacle of global success. If she sweeps the prestigious awards, this exact independent model will become the standard blueprint for every emerging artist worldwide. This reality fundamentally threatens the very existence and financial structure of the major record labels. She completely rewrote the rules by executing a flawless strategy. The executives lost control of the board because she successfully changed the entire game from the ground up. Transitioning from a viral television sensation into a fiercely autonomous entertainment mogul serves as in leveraging independence. Weaponizing her authenticity allowed her to break the vicious cycle that traps so many young musical artists. What followed next was a definitive victory achieved by keeping her business securely within her immediate family structure. Calling Hollywood's bluff at every single turn, dismantled the corporate control mechanisms previously placed upon her career. Turning point came when the barefoot girl from Norway proved that true power originates from owning your own voice. And this is where things changed for the future of entertainment media. A standard record contract no longer represents the ultimate goal for incoming creative talent. Her historic 2026 strategy fundamentally altered how audiences consume and value modern music. We are currently witnessing a massive disruption that challenges the final days of the corporate music machine. Major labels must now scramble to find a new way to fight back against this growing independent revolution. The industry matrix completely failed to contain the authentic artist who simply refused to compromise.